Hi, this is Derek Murphy of creativity.com, helping you become financially and creatively independent. And what I'm doing right now is answering 100 of the most common publishing questions that people usually email me about. This one's really interesting. It's how not to be nervous when talking with agents and meeting industry professionals, especially if you go to a writing conference. Sometimes the writing conferences have like a lightning round pitch where you have 2 minutes to pitch your book to an agent or a publisher. Um, which is fantastic practice because sometimes you might have the opportunity to get on the phone or to get in front of an agent or a publisher or someone who matters, and you've got to sell them your book in 2 minutes. You've really got to know what you're doing, and you have to present it in a way that sells and makes them interested. And it can be nerve-wracking, of course, especially if you're shy or nervous. You may not notice it, but I have almost crippling social anxiety myself. I've gone back and forth from being very self-confident, overconfident to weird, shy insecurities. It's mostly, I don't believe it's fully a matter of personality. I think it's a lot of brain balance and chemicals. Because I have migraines, I've had to experiment with a lot of medicines and herbs and drugs that influence the way your brain is working and your neurons and brain chemicals, serotonin, GABA, all of that. So I've seen nervousness and shyness. You may be an introverted person, but a lot of it is just you get that when you have to speak in public, you're thinking about speaking in public, you get that fight or flight response. Even, I mean, I'm a pretty confident person, but even if I have to speak in front of a lot of people, even if I've done it a lot of times before, I'll start to sweat and my heart will start beating. That's a natural biological response I don't have a lot of control over. Anyway, so I understand your pain if you have problems facing agents or meeting industry professionals, if it worries you. So here's some tips. Practice makes perfect. So you have to research what your book is about and how you can pitch it well. You have to know what a book pitch is. You have to be able to pitch it in 30 seconds, which means you need the difference between the concept and the premise. You need to know how they differ from the theme. So you have to know this stuff about literature and about books so that you're talking the agent's language and so that you're showing that you've done the research. Also remember, you're not asking for favors or help. You're not begging them to give you money or to take over to help you publish. You're providing the valuable content that they are actively looking for. It's their job, and they're desperate to find the next big money-making book. They're aware that maybe you've got it. Maybe you've written the next Shades of Grey or Twilight. They're always on the lookout for something that's commercially viable. So don't think that you're asking them for a favor. If you believe in your book and you believe you have a commercial product that's going to appeal to millions of people, you're doing them a favor by talking to them and giving them the opportunity to get on board. So that's the way you have to present yourself. You just have to think, this is $1 million book. Do you want to be part of it? Although that'll help with your confidence, you don't want to actually say that because they'll think you're crazy and they'll kind of stop listening as soon as you say this is going to be $1 million book. You don't want to say, this is the next Harry Potter, this is, just like Stephen King, because that's a turnoff for most agents and publishers. They want to know what your book is about, and you have to be able to talk about it intelligently and quickly. Anyway, so in terms of your confidence, you have to know, is your book, does it really have a huge market? Do you have a platform to sell it? Do you have marketing ideas? How are you going to bring value to this partnership? You can't just be in the position of, I have a book and I have nothing else. I have no idea what to do with it. Unless it's a fantastic book in a very popular genre like a romance, or maybe you have 30 romance novels written, ready to go. That's a position of power that an agent would kind of be lucky to get into, because that could be a lot of money with that many books. If you don't believe you've got the next big money-making book in a popular genre, you need to write a better one. Otherwise, why are you asking for an agent or a publisher to help you out? If you don't think you can sell 1 million copies of this book, or at least 50,000, it's probably not worth their time or risk to help you to publish it. If you still have difficulty, dress well, smile a lot, get a haircut, look professional. If you have chronic social anxiety, think about experimenting with kava kava, St. John's wort, or a shot of vodka. St. John's wort does wonders for anxiety. Also, something I use sometimes is, what's it called? Propanol. It's actually popular for, it's a heart medication that keeps your heart from having that fight or flight response. So a lot of, I heard about it because I'm in graduate school, and a lot of professors will take it before they present a paper because it keeps them calm and slow, and it gets rid of that nervous reaction. And that's kind of interesting. So I know that people use it specifically for speech giving or talking in front of people because it helps with some of those uncontrollable biological responses to fear. But there's other things that can just make you more relaxed and more confident and speak more fluidly. I've used modafinil in the past. Modafinil is an ADHD drug that helps you, it gives you almost narcissistic confidence so that you will really believe in your abilities. You'll speak very quickly, but it also removes your speaking filter. So you're likely to say kind of offensive things that you wouldn't, like normally you would filter yourself and you wouldn't say whatever's on your mind. Modafinil, it makes you sound really smart because you're speaking quickly and you're thinking very quickly. I love it for writing books because I can get a lot of material down. But for social situations, although it makes you more confident, it's also a little risky because you might come off like an asshole, and you need to be a little cautious. But I've also used Neurontin. Neurontin is it does more with the GABA of your brain, so it also makes you more kind of social and friendly. It makes you talkative. I've used Vicodin. Vicodin is just a painkiller, but it also has a little bit of what's the active principle of Vicodin? It's from opium, basically. It's a little bit of the opium chemicals. I can't remember what they're called. It's in Vicodin. So, I mean, obviously drugs are not the first choice, but if you have severe social anxiety, for me, it took me at least a year to start making videos because I was crippled by, like, I just couldn't face myself in front of the camera. I've learned how to do it by blocking out the screen so I can't see myself talking, and practice. Even though I'm overcoming a fear, if I put out a couple hundred of these videos, I will become more confident on camera. Anything that you do repetitively will make you more confident. So if you're doing your 30-second book pitch, practice in front of the mirror, practice in front of your family, take your friends out to lunch or coffee and practice. Redo the same pitch 100 times to make sure you can really get it down. You don't stumble over your words. Practice. I mean, first you've got to make it good. So make sure you do the research and pitch it the right way. Know your concept and premise and theme. Know your book and be able to talk about it in 30 seconds, but then just practice it. So as I was saying about all the drugs, first practice, then repeat. Finally, if you still feel that nervous reaction and you just want to come across as more confident, more outgoing, because it's hard to practice being socially confident. You have to put yourself in social settings where you interact with a lot of people, and you have to do that a lot to build up those skills. You can't just go into a conference cold after spending 9 months at home writing your book and expect to be able to interact with people. So, I mean, coffee can help, but coffee can actually make you more inhibited and nervous. So if you're already a shy person and you drink a lot of coffee, you'll be excited, but your fear and your heart pounding and your sweat, it'll be more than usual. So you got to be really, coffee is not the first choice I would use if you want to be confident or more adept at socializing. And it's important, if you're going to a conference, the most valuable thing you're going to get out of those conference is the relationships you make with other people. If you go to a conference and you're a wallflower and you just take notes and talk to the person next to you, but you don't meet people, that's a huge waste of resources because you've paid to go to that conference. The best thing you can get out of that conference is to meet 100 people and to become friends with 100 people. That's going to drastically build your author platform. To do that, you've got to really get out of your comfort zone and go up to people and start conversations. You can even wear a sign that says please talk to me. I'm shy, to get other people to come to you. But make sure you find a way to overcome that obstacle and to make these relationships work. I've rambled quite a bit in this video, but I hope maybe I mentioned a few things that will help you when you are facing this shyness or fear when you're trying to pitch your book, because it is a common problem. Practice and supplementation work the best. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here. And the next question is, if a publisher asks you to write a chapter, would there be a time limit? So I'm going to answer that in just a minute, and you can look for that in my other videos.